Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 9 based on novel. So let's start. Far above the lake, an invisible ray of light was suspended in the sky, and the vast and majestic soul power, like a tide, was centered on it and quickly swept out in all directions. At this moment, in the entire small mountain range, except for a few extremely powerful except for the rank monsters, the rest of the monsters felt an extremely strong soul pressure. Under this kind of soul pressure, their bodies could not help but tremble slightly. Xiao Yan is so powerful that he can actually use his soul power to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to replenish himself. You couldn't help looking at Xiao Yan in the air. After getting to know Xiao Yan from the Alchemist Association at the beginning, Xiao Yan caused a huge shock to Yu everywhere, and later he rescued his father, which also caused Yu to have some different emotions, although Xiao Yan also has some feelings. What she noticed, but Xiao Yan thought that she was grateful to her father for saving her, and didn't think about it at all. Yu looked at the invisible light in the sky, the vast soul power, even her father. I am afraid there is a feeling of panic. Her father's strength is reflected in strength, but if it is compared to the soul, the two fathers may not be able to keep up with the current Xiao Yan. The soul power that spreads out like a tide. After nearly a few minutes, it gradually dissipated, and the invisible light slowly appeared under Yu's gaze. The light dissipated, and a figure with a heavy ruler in black appeared faintly. Upon closer inspection, it was Xiao Yan, but now that Xiao Yan's body was much better than before. Recovered? Yu also said happily. Xiao Yan's repeated efforts to save himself must be more than just friendship. Yu's pink face couldn't help but think. However, Yu also knows that the soul is too illusory for the powerhouses of this era, and the power of the soul is colorless and invisible. If you want to condense the soul of nothingness into the shape of a human, and not leave it for a long time, even some powerhouses of the Do-D level are difficult to do. Let's go to. I can feel that there is no dragon demon core here, so I can only go to the main hall to try my luck. Xiao Yan also recovered his strength and said to Yu. In fact, the previous battle with Mueller did not consume much strength, but Xiao Yan deliberately went late to save some trouble. Thank you for the crescent moon green fruit. Yu followed Xiao Yan with her lips lightly biting. It's nothing to worry about. Xiao Yan also laughed. As time passed by, more and more people gathered in the depths of the ruins. An ancient stone gate slowly blocked in front of the main hall, because everyone present knew that once they crossed this stone gate, there would be countless wealth behind, and even more immortal level fighting skills. Gongfa. Even rare treasures of heaven and earth, this is the greatest wealth. However, they are also clear that this relic limits their strength, so the stone gate in front of them will definitely not be able to break through. So they can only wait until the seal is weakened and slowly open. However, at this rate of weakening, it will be opened in no more than 3 days at most. Let's settle down here now, it seems that we can only wait. Even in the ruins, there is a distinction between day and night, and in a blink of an eye, night comes. In an empty forest, a bonfire silhouetted the two figures. It was Xiao Yan and Yu. Let's taste it. Xiao Yan picked up a chicken leg and said to Yu. The temperature at night was a bit low, so Xiao Yan made a fire and grabbed a low-level monster as a food to barbecue to satisfy his hunger. Even if the Do-D strong man did not eat for a few days, it would not affect him, because the Do-D strong man could rely on heaven and earth. Riki replenishes itself, so I don't rely so much on whole grains, but I don't eat it for nothing, right? Breakthrough. I didn't think the barbecue you made was quite delicious. Yu also gently tore a little into her mouth, and the familiar taste made her appetite greatly increased. Ha, I've been away all the year round, and these things will gradually get better. Xiao Yan is not as elegant as Yu, and he gulps down the barbecue in front of him. Bang bang bang. The 3 leaves charged towards Xiao Yan and the two with overwhelming energy. Yu, be careful. Xiao Yan has been walking outside all year round, so naturally he has the awareness that he cannot let his guard down at all times. The The strange fire all over the body was instantly activated, and the 3 leaves were instantly turned into nothingness. Yueru obviously didn't expect someone to attack them so late, and she was also taken aback. Fortunately, Xiao Yan reminded her, and she immediately entered the battle preparations. "Who are you?" "Sneaky." Xiao Yang's soul power locked on the trail of the person who attacked them at the moment when the mysterious man made his move. "Come out." A milky white flame went towards the position where the mysterious man was standing. The flames brought bursts of high temperature, as if possessing wisdom. Which forest trees were bypassed directly, and the mysterious man was hit directly. Was it discovered? A big tree upload comes from talking to itself. Bang! The mysterious man jumped off the big tree and fell into Xiao Yang's field of vision. The average man is innocent and guilty. The crescent moon green fruit is a good thing, but if you don't have the strength to protect it, you will only give your life in vain. Suddenly a voice came out from the mountain, and only one figure was seen walking out. In that forest, there was only one. The figure stood still, his body was sturdy, like an iron tower, his eyes glanced away, and his eyes were filled with a strong desire for war. Like a ferocious ape. He grinned at Xiao Yang and laughed loudly, then without any hesitation, he stomped the soles of his feet, and his body rose to the sky, and he walked towards Xiao Yang after a few jumps. "It doesn't make you worry about it," Xiao Yang also said coldly. Yueru, who was beside him, naturally recognized this person, and Mueller is known as the Heaven's Chosen, one of the 8 great cities of Qingcheng. Sun Ming, a born fighting maniac. This person turned out to be the late Samsung Do Di. However, Xiao Yang is also not afraid. He possesses the 3 mysterious transformations of heavenly fire, and also has the immortal rank fighting skill of Eternal Fire, Eternal Ancient Ruler, Soul Attack, and Eclectic Fire has obvious suppressing effect on such people. "I didn't mean to come here today, I just wanted to confirm whether the recently rumored Xiao Yang is as powerful as the rumors." After speaking, he also looked at Xiao Yang carefully, and then waved away casually. "It's not so much that I am interested in what you have on your body. It is better to say that you actually defeated Mueller, who was in the middle stage of the Samsung Do Emperor, by virtue of your strength in the early stage of the Samsung Do Di, which really surprised me. You will be a very good opponent. There will be a meeting in the depths of the ruins. Then let's see if you have the ability." Xiao Yang also responded with a smile. "Is there anything in me that deserves their attention?" Xiao Yang was also puzzled. "It should be your strange fire. Although these living dead are cold, it is not ruled out that they will do strange experiments with strange fires like heaven and earth." The Golden Dragon King also said slowly. "Forget it, take one step at a time." One night of silence, 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. The seal of the stone gate in front of everyone also weakened at this moment and is about to open. Outside Xiamen was crowded with people, and the 3-day boring wait was over. Crash! The space in front of me is violently distorted. It made a rushing sound like water, and with the spread of this sound, the fluctuations in that space became more and more violent. Looking at this momentum, Xiamen is about to open. There was no lack of humane with vicious eyes. Looking at the energy seal that became more and more illusory under the fluctuations, outside the sea of people, the eyes of countless people quietly glowed red, and even their breathing became much heavier, holding weapons. The palms are also slowly exerting force. I don't know what kind of blood there will be in a competition for treasures. Xiao Yang also said with emotion. Then Xiao Yang looked at the increasingly distorted space with his eyes narrowed. In the strange clattering sound, he felt an extremely terrifying energy fluctuation. This fluctuation was extremely manic, as if being suppressed in the volcano under the Earth's crust is like a crazy eruption. Crash! There was another strange rushing sound. The distorted space suddenly condensed, and then there was only a crisp bang. The distorted space was like a fragile glass with a pop. Burst into countless tiny space debris. Come on, the ruins are open. At the moment when the seal of space burst, there were countless figures around the sea of people, their eyes were immediately red, and there was a low greedy roar from their throats. With the gradual opening of the stone gate, a desolate and ancient aura slowly drifted out, causing many people to look solemn. For many people, things from the ancient times were quite sacred. Seeing the open stone gate, Xiao Yan moved, swept back lightly, and then returned to his previous position. Seeing his actions, many people twitched their mouths and cursed at the treacherous person in their hearts. Boy, Xiao Yan made it clear that he did not want to be the first to enter this mysterious ruin. The door slowly opened, and the creaking sound gradually ceased. Everyone in the square looked at each other, but no one dared to set foot in it first. Xiao Yan ignored the silence outside Shaman. He touched Jia with his fingers, and the smile on the corner of his mouth was quite bright. He didn't expect that he had just entered the ruins. The Golden Dragon King sensed the Dragon Demon core. Outside the Shaman, there will be some strong men from time to time coming from outside, obviously some strong men who discovered the opening of the stone gate, and seeing more and more strong men coming together, those who arrived first, the people and the forces couldn't hold it any longer. After a while, someone finally walked into the stone gate slowly and couldn't help it. The screams were endless. Fast back! Compared with these sullen people, Xiao Yan's expression changed at the moment when the space exploded. He grabbed Yueru beside him, a little tree trunk at his toes, and his body suddenly retreated. The 5 major cities beside him. The proud son of heaven also sensed something was wrong, reacted extremely quickly, and immediately retreated without hesitation. When Xiao Yang and the others retreated, there were suddenly a lot of figures on the surrounding giant trees, and they were obviously also finding something. Just as Xiao Yang and the others retreated violently, the shards of the space seal that burst open suddenly stopped, and then only a loud bang was heard. The power of the violent space, like a storm, swept away in all directions, and those who rushed the fastest were the first to bear the brunt, almost in the blink of an eye, were swallowed by the storm. Immediately, shrill screams resounded one after another on the sea of fire. The scum that was swallowed up is not left. This space seal is so terrifying. The violent spatial ripples, like harvesting wheat, destroyed all the crowds that were rushing in front of them, leaving no room for them. On the other hand, some of the powerhouses in the back finally realized that something was wrong, so the crowd that was rushing forward suddenly turned around and fled in embarrassment. Tens of thousands of figures are constantly moving in series, because if they don't run, they will be waiting for them. Die? Let them be greedy, and they have to have that life to enjoy. That's why this scene is in front of them. Bang! Because there was a certain distance, when the space storm spread, it would not cause any harm to Xiao Yang and others. At this time, the few people breathed a sigh of relief, and when their eyes swept away, they saw countless miserable howls. The screaming figure rolled on the ground, and the bright red blood stained a large area of land outside Shaman. What a terrifying space seal! After countless years, it can still have such a terrifying impact. It is worthy of being a relic of the peak of the Emperor Do. See the destructive power caused by this space fluctuation. Surroundingly, a look of shock appeared on the cheeks of the honored sons of the 8 great cities and others. Let's go. These guys are too impatient and deserve bad luck. Xiao Yang smiled and waved his palm, and his figure turned into a rainbow glow, swept away at the stone gate. At the same time, many other powerhouses who had also successfully avoided the spatial fluctuations also immediately cast the figure turned into blurred silhouettes and swept into the stone gate. The Emperor's cave has finally opened at this moment. With the gradual approach, some of the grey fog floating in the stone gate gradually became thinner, and the behemoth Tilda finally appeared in the field of vision of Xiao Yang and others. Stepping into the stone gate and looking around, the deepest part of the stone gate is a great hall, a huge hall nearly 1,000 feet huge, almost like a small mountain peak. The Soul Hall branch hall has become abnormally small. Looking up at this gigantic creature standing between heaven and earth, a sense of insignificance arises spontaneously. Then the so-called great fortune should be where? The people present also understood. The whole body of the giant hall was red, and from a distance, it seemed like a flame was rising. In this grey-white space, it was extremely dazzling. The surrounding powerhouses were also a little lost because of the large scale of the Crimson Giant Hall. After a while, they came back to their senses and looked at each other with shocking expressions in their eyes, worthy of being the emperor level. Left by the strong, such handwriting is indeed majestic and atmospheric. She. One after another, the figures gradually slowed down, and then stopped a few hundred meters away from the stone gate. Standing here, the giant hall was even more huge. At a glance, the top of the giant hall seemed to be inserted into a cloud peak. No wonder it has to be covered up with a space seal, such a huge hall. Wherever it is placed, it is a conspicuous existence. Xiao Yan also said in surprise. Let's go this way. My soul power has sensed the breath of dragon monsters. Xiao Yang said while pulling you. Then why don't we go to the main hall? What about the great fortune? Yueru also said in a heartbeat. Although Yueru didn't have much hope for the great fortune, she wanted to see it. If it was so easy to get, it wouldn't be great fortune. Go? Xiao Yang also knew that the top priority was to find the dragon demon core first. It seems that their brains are flooded, and they don't take good fortune. But it doesn't matter, since that's the case, we also have one less opponent. Let's go. The living dead who stole Xiao Yang's fake crescent moon green fruit said in disapproval. Miss, let's go too. I don't want it. I have to follow them. Feng Yi said stubbornly. As an alchemist, she certainly knew the powerful soul power in Xiao Yang's body. Maybe Xiao Yang could give her inspiration to make a breakthrough. And she can feel that it is more important to break through the pharmacist rank than that great fortune. Xiao Yang and the others landed on a huge grey-black tree. Their eyes looked straight ahead, only to see that there was a vast forest. The forest was full of trees that alternated between grey and white. These trees had no branches and leaves. Only the bare tree trunks, from a distance, look like a forest of sharp spears, which makes people feel a chill. However, Xiao Yang and the others didn't stop there too much. They directly locked the position in the middle of the forest, only to see a dead air filled there, a grey-white shadow snoring like a dream demon. Because according to what the Golden Dragon King said, the dragon monsters live here. Xiao Yang's terrifying soul force directly attacked the sky and covered the earth, directly piercing the thick dead aura, and the scene in the depths of the forest quickly became clear in his eyes, and he could only see a big tree in the depths. Down, a black shadow was entrenched, like a lizard. The shadow's body was actually dressed in black armor, the armor surface was entangled with death energy, and when the death energy fluctuated, even Xiao Yang's complexion was dignified. The death aura possessed by this black monster is far more powerful than the living dead that Xiao Yang and the others have met before. Obviously, just from the perception of the aura, we know that this is a monster that can rival the 4-star Do Di. What? When Xiao Yang visited this powerful beast with the help of the clan mark, he suddenly let out a sigh, because he found that the armor on the beast's body seemed to be quite broken, and even on the surface of its body, there were deep lines. Scarlet scars revealing grey bones. And there are still some fresh wounds, apparently recently injured, and the death energy of this beast is also slightly disordered, as if it had experienced a war before. What? You, who was beside him, also asked in a low voice, looking at Xiao Yang who frowned slightly. This monster seems to have suffered some trauma. Xiao Yang also said with some doubts, he had used his soul power to visit the periphery before, and there were no other teams nearby. Where did this monster's injury come from? Xiao Yang Ren was also a little surprised when he heard this, and immediately smiled. Said, it seems that God really helped us. A wounded beast is better than a normal one. Xiao Yang also smiled, he didn't worry too much about it, his eyes turned, looking at the death forest, his eyes flickered. Yueru looked at Xiao Yang and said, there are a lot of monsters in this area, but looking at the footprints, I think they were driven out by this demon dragon, so the demon dragon should have been injured because of this. Let's go. I will wrap you with my soul power and go in and have a look. Xiao Yang said. Xiao Yang felt that things were not so simple, and it was better to be careful. After all, this was a monster that was comparable to a human 4-star Do Emperor, a 4-star Do Emperor. If it wasn't for the beast's injury and the presence of the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yang with the character of self-confidence is categorically not coming. Although this lizard with dragon blood is extremely powerful, its perception of soul power is much weaker. As long as Xiao Yan and the others do not deliberately provoke the dragon lizard, it is impossible for the dragon lizard to find them. When Xiao Yang and the others started rushing towards the direction of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard, the place where the dragon lizard was had already been visited by a group of people, and it became extremely hot. There were a large number of figures in white standing outside the entrance of the cave where the dragon lizards inhabited. An astonishing cold air permeated from their bodies. Even the temperature of this world was affected and lowered a lot. In front of the large group of white shadows, there are two hunched old figures. Between these two people standing at will, there are two majestic cold and evil auras that slowly spread out, giving people a kind of very depressed feeling. Among the two, the most eye-catching is the old man in the middle. The old man had white hair and beard, and was leaning on a dragon-headed crutch that looked like a white jade. The dragon's giant mouth was wide open, and a pair of gloomy dragon eyes showed gloomy meaning. Compared with the famous old man, he looks extraordinarily ordinary, with no energy spilling out from his body, and even that old face is abnormally dry, with slightly squinted eyes, revealing a bit of turbidity. Ordinary old people have no difference at all. What is surprising is that this seemingly unremarkable old man is standing in the middle of the team, and even the majestic white-clothed old man is half a step behind him. Between the eyebrows, there is a little respect. Around Jianko, there are still many people watching the excitement, and when they saw this battle, they were all shocked, especially when they saw the special snow patterns on these people's clothes. It was even more, there was a commotion. It turned out to be from Solomon. Yueru exclaimed. Solomon is one of the most powerful forces in this mysterious spirit continent. Although there are few good or bad rumors, there is no doubt about Solomon's strength and reputation. Don't worry, let's take a look at their purpose first. Xiao Yan was also surprised that Solomon would also set his sights on this bloodthirsty dragon. Yu reading. These people have an unusual aura. The Golden Dragon King also carefully felt the aura of Solomon in front of him. I always feel that their strength seems to be a little floating. Is it my illusion? The Golden Dragon King murmured to himself. Dragon Lizard, we are here just to borrow your dragon blood. The white-haired old man who took the lead said to the bloodthirsty dragon lizard cradling at the entrance of the cave. Boom boom boom. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard swung its huge tail angrily. Damn humans! If I hadn't been ambushed by you before, I would have killed you. The dragon lizard roared. These people in front of them actually poisoned themselves when they were eating, causing them to fall into a sluggishness for a second for a short time. The two old men headed by them did not hesitate to attack with all their strength. Although the demon dragon lizard was enough to rival the 4-star Do Emperor powerhouse, but now that he is seriously injured, and the two are also the peak of the 3-star Do D, they are not their opponents. And it can be seen that the dragon lizard is very afraid of the dragon-headed crutch in the hands of the white-haired old man, even afraid. However, although the dragon lizard was seriously injured, how could the dragon beast give in so easily? Immediately facing the forest is a dragon roar. Boom boom boom. Overwhelming monsters came from all directions, and among them there were 3 monsters that were comparable to the late Samsung Do D. Oops, this beast actually called it subordinates. You careless. The white-haired old man at the head yelled badly, thinking that he could easily conquer the dragon with this dragon-headed cane. Prepare to fight. You hold the other beasts, second child, follow me to kill this dragon lizard. The white-haired old man said. Superior. Since you don't appreciate it at all, don't blame us for being ruthless. The white-haired old man Bingtian said to another person. Bingwu also heard Bingtian's words, and immediately flew towards the place where Bingtian was, and the seal was constantly changing in his hand, as if something was brewing. Bingtian raised the dragon-headed cane high, muttering some strange terms in his mouth. A strange scene appeared. Bingtian's high-raised dragon-headed crutches actually emitted a whitish-white mist. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard saw these humans in front of him, especially the 2 old men leading the team. The peak of the 2 3-star fighting emperors. Although the strength of the magic dragon is comparable to that of a 4-star Do Di human being, these despicable humans sneak up on themselves while they are sleeping, resulting in scars on their bodies, and their strength has dropped a lot. At this moment, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard showed its wisdom that is not inferior to human beings. Looking at the techniques of Bing Tian and Bing Wu, it can clearly feel that this is the last resort. Immediately, his entrenched body trembled, and his eyes stared at the two who were forming a formation in front of him. The huge dragon pupils stared at Bing Tian and Bing Wu, and the two of them only felt their whole body tremble, and they didn't care about the 3,721 because they both knew that if they didn't get rid of this bloodthirsty dragon lizard today, then they will be wiped out. And when I think of not being able to complete the tasks assigned by the sect, if I go back, that kind of torture will be unbearable for ordinary people. Can't lose. Fight. A belief appeared in the hearts of both of them. Saying that, the two of them quickened their movements. The originally dark sky turned into a cloud of mist. Looking at the discolored sky, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard secretly said that it was not good, but how could the unyielding spirit of the dragon race allow such an arrogant creature to escape? Taking a deep breath, the dragon lizard roared out at the cave. This roar seems simple, but the dragon lizard contains an extremely powerful sonic attack. Circle after circle attacked away from the cave. When directly attacking Solomon's disciples, the demon dragon lizard also knows that what he can do now is to greatly reduce their number, so that his subordinates have the opportunity to fight the war of attrition. Boom boom boom. The people of Solomon, who were resisting the other beasts, didn't notice the dragon's actions, but were surprised to feel the powerful sound waves. Some weak people couldn't help being festered by the sudden attack of the dragon, and some held their heads tightly. Obviously, their strength was low and they had no means to prevent this kind of sonic attack, so Solomon's people were terrible. More than a third of the dead. How could Bing Tian and Bing Wu not be angry with him? Beast! I originally wanted to borrow some of your dragon's blood to complete a great experiment for us, but now you have angered us, so you must die today. Ha ha ha. The despicable and shameless human beings still want to borrow my blood. Is the blood of our noble dragon demon beasts yours? Besides, you plotted against me first, and their deaths are just to atone for your sins. Don't worry, you are very happy. I'll go with them soon. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard was also the overlord of the party, and immediately shouted at Bing Tian. All Solomon disciples obey the order and form a formation. Bing Tian's eyes were also red. Hearing the cold shout resounding through the cave, most of the remaining Solomon disciples froze for a moment. After a little hesitation, they responded in unison and slowly closed their eyes. After a while, strands of white energy emerged from the top of the Solomon disciples' heads. Penetrated from above. A steady stream of white fog energy rose into the sky, and finally almost covered the entire sky. At first glance, it looked like it was in a sea of clouds, and the ice sky and ice fog were in the center of the sea of clouds to control the formation. Everyone, help me! Bing Tian shouted again, coldly looking at the surrounding cloud energy. The blood stains on his face due to the sonic attack of the demon dragon had formed blood scars at this moment, which looked particularly terrifying. As Bing Tian's shouts fell, the dozen or so white-robed disciples on the stone platform immediately stood up, and with a jump, they quickly separated, and then shot to some big trees around the square with their hands printed on them. The knots moved at the same time, and with the movements of their handprints, the sea of clouds that filled the sky also suddenly fluctuated. At the center of the sea of clouds, the energy of the cloud chi rapidly condensed and covered the entire cave in an instant. Oops! The bloodthirsty dragon who didn't agree at the beginning couldn't help roaring when he saw the completion of the Great Formation, because of its strength, he also felt a sense of destruction from the Great Formation. The power of... Oh, it's actually a double-chained dragon pillar. The Golden Dragon King also said to Xiao Yan. What is the double-chained dragon pillar? Xiao Yan looked at the center of the battle, and the Bing Tian and Bing Wu who controlled the formation seemed to be part of the big formation at this time. On the other hand, the situation of the magic dragon was extremely bad. The so-called double-chained dragon pillar is a kind of ceiling formation, but this ceiling formation will have unexpected effects when dealing with dragon monsters. In other words, it is the nemesis of dragon monsters. The Golden Dragon King also explained to Xiao Yang. Road? Xiao Yang frowned upon hearing this. Don't worry, I haven't paid attention to this level of ceiling formation. It's okay to deal with bloodthirsty demon dragons with impure bloodlines. If you want to seal me, I can kill them with one finger. Are also dragon monsters. The former is a monster with a trace of dragon blood, while the latter is a genuine golden dragon king. But I always think the so-called Solomon people are weird. The golden dragon king said in a voice that only he could hear. Xiao Yan did not doubt the authenticity of the words of the golden dragon king. Then he turned his attention to the battle. Xiao Yan also deliberately strengthened the soul power covering himself and Yueru, because he was afraid of being discovered by others. Although the soul power of the people here is much weaker than that of Xiao Yang, there is no harm in being careful. Strange, Xiao Yang is clearly here, why can't I feel his breath? Said a girl in a colorful skirt. Miss, there seems to be traces of fighting in the cave ahead. Shall we go and have a look? Followed the girl's entourage to explore the way back. I don't know what's wrong, why the eldest young lady of my own family doesn't want to take good luck and wants to come to Xiao Yang, but the mission of these followers is to protect the young lady, and they don't dare to ask any more questions. Go? Xiao Yang, you can't escape from my palm. The girl slowly and playfully rushed towards the cave. Looking carefully, this playful girl is actually Feng Yi. Boom boom boom. The great formation controlled by Bing Qian and Bing Wu was also completed at this moment. I saw clouds and mist covering the entire sky, and two sky-piercing beams of light appeared in the center of the rolling cloud and mist ground formation, piercing the sky. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard felt an extreme fear from the two beams of light, followed by the hysterical roar of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. The seal formation? Isn't the double-chain dragon pillar lost? How could it be in your hands? Ha ha ha. You don't need to know this, we will naturally be well prepared to deal with you. Bing Qian controlled the sky-piercing beam of light and whizzed away at the dragon lizard. Bing Qian flashed past with two beams of light reaching the sky. In an instant, he came to the front of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. Bang bang bang. A series of two sky-penetrating beams of light like chains surrounded the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. When the bloodthirsty dragon lizard saw this, the secret path was not good. It was surrounded by these two pillars of light, and its own power seemed to be rapidly declining. It's really worthy of being a dragon pillar. It has such a powerful and overwhelming suppression on the bloodthirsty dragon lizards that have some trace of dragon blood. Xiao Yang looked at the bloodthirsty demons who were being forced to retreat. Dragon lizard road. Boom boom boom. The passionate dragon roar rioted wildly with the tail of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. At this moment, the entire cave was also swept away by the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. It was no longer what it used to be. The dragon's tail brought a streak of terrifying energy that could rival the peak of the 4-star Do Emperor and attacked the ice sky. Suffer to death. Bing Qian shouted loudly, then shot at the dragon lizard. Obviously, Bing Qian also noticed that the strength of the dragon lizard was being madly suppressed by the dragon pillar. How long would it be if he didn't attack at this time? Dong dong dong. The beam of light through the sky seemed to possess intelligence, deftly deflected the attack of the demon dragon, and then strung it towards the demon dragon lizard under the blessing of Bing Qian's body covered in white mist. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard also saw this clever sky-penetrating beam of light, and just wanted to avoid it, but unexpectedly, the space he was in was already sealed by the double-chain dragon column sealing array, and the cave of his own the space was sealed extremely seriously. The pupils of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard were suddenly covered with a layer of scarlet color at this time, making people look very strange. It is also clear that this double-chain dragon pillar is worthy of its name as the nemesis of dragon monsters, and once one is locked by this chain, it is very likely that it will be damaged today. When he thought that he, who possessed the blood of the dragon race, could be forced to be so embarrassed by humans, when he thought that if he were to be damaged today, then the consequences could be imagined. Dragon has always been arrogant. Even a bloodthirsty dragon with only a trace of silk dragon blood is no exception. Did the bloodthirsty dragon lizard give up resistance at this time? You also stared blankly at the demon dragon who did not move at all in the face of Swalongju. It shouldn't be. Have you noticed the change in the pupils of the dragon? The more powerful the beast, the harder it is to kill, and the more powerful the beast has three forms: a lurking form, a fighting form, and a violent form. The latent form is the weakest of the monsters. This form of monsters will hide and disguise, and will not reveal too much power, while the fighting form uses most of the power of the monsters, which is several times stronger than the hidden shape. If it is a monster forced into a desperate situation, it will be the last desperate means. The violent form, this form of beast is the most terrifying, and it is more than several times stronger than the previous two forms. Look at the demon dragon carefully, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard, his violent form may be related to bloodthirsty. Xiao Yan also spoke slowly. Yueru also looked at Xiao Yan with a bit of surprise. The latter not only has outstanding strength, but also has superb refining skills. The most important thing is that he is a bold and careful person, staring blankly at Xiao Yang, not knowing what he is thinking. What Xiao Yang knew was naturally what the Golden Dragon King told him. Otherwise, how could Xiao Yang know so many secrets? He immediately raised his head and looked at the bloodthirsty dragon in battle. Awesome, I didn't pay attention to Dao Yueru at all. The battle is in full swing. Bingwu looked at the dragon lizard as if it had given up resistance, and two sky-penetrating beams of light gradually wrapped around its tail and dragon claws. Ha ha ha. Bingwu couldn't help laughing, thinking that he could complete the mission by sealing the dragon. Bingwu couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Not good. Although Bingtian didn't know the different forms of beasts, when he saw the pupils of the demon dragon trapped by the dragon lock pillar, his eyes changed greatly. How can it be? Humans. I said that you will pay the price. The demon dragon lizard said fiercely as it stared at the people in the cave. The natural talent of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. Bloodthirsty. A circle of red protective film is formed around the dragon lizard. Bloodthirsty not only gives the bloodthirsty dragon an amazing protective film, but also greatly increases the attack power of the bloodthirsty dragon in a short period of time. It can be said rudely, even if the current bloodthirsty dragon lizard is trapped by the dragon pillar, and its strength is suppressed to the level of a human 3-star fighting emperor, but the protective film of the dragon is not Bingwu Bingtian. These people can work together. It was opened, and the attack of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard was stronger than the previous one. 5 minutes. Bloodlust can last 5 minutes. Don't say 5 minutes, even 1 second can decide whether the battle will be won or lost. As we all know, every beast will be born with natural talents, but very few of them can successfully cultivate. Bingtian and the others obviously know it, but they did not expect that this bloodthirsty dragon lizard actually succeeded in cultivation. Even if the bloodthirsty dragon lizard was trapped by the dragon pillar, it held up its arrogant head under the bloodthirsty violent form, and a stream of hot energy was brewing in the dragon's mouth. It is the most powerful attack method of dragons. Dragon breath. At this time, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard's dragon breath in its bloodthirsty form, even Bingtian and Bingwu, are not at all sure that they can take it. Damn, it's still a wrong move. Bingtian said viciously. What do I do now? Bingwu also frowned. Although the bloodthirsty dragon in front of him was trapped by the dragon chain, its protective film with astonishing defense power required all efforts to crack it, even if it was a 5-star duty powerhouse. Tilda can't run. Bingtian also calmly analyzed at this time. Immediately, looking at the clouds and mist in the sky and the remaining Solomon disciples, a trace of chill flashed in his eyes. This is the only way now. Solomon disciple obey. Blood sacrifice. Bingtian shouted loudly. The Bingtian blood sacrifice had just been drunk out, and the dozens of Solomon's remaining disciples were running around as if they had met a ghost, because they also knew that the so-called blood sacrifice was to use blood as a sacrifice, condensed on one person's body, a powerful burst of power in a short period of time. In other words, it doesn't make any difference to let them, the disciples of Solomon, die. Death to me. Bingtian turned into a huge and hideous face, with a distorted smile, and when he opened his mouth to the Solomon disciples who were about to run away, he devoured them. If you take something that doesn't belong to you, it's time to return it. Bingtian apparently said to the seriously injured Bingwu. Whoosh! Bingwu also hurried back, and he also knew that the Bingtian at this time was no longer the original Bingtian. Phut! Bingwu didn't escape in an instant and was directly swallowed by Bingtian. Without exception, Solomon's disciples were all swallowed up by Bingtian. That Bingtian's strength is also skyrocketing at this moment. The initial stage of the 4-star Do D. The middle stage of the 4-star Do D. 4-star Do D late stage. This emperor is really powerful. The strength of the 4-star fighting emperor in the late stage is so suppressed. I'm afraid I can persist in it for a minute. However, 1 minute is enough to solve you, little beast. Bingtian looked at the bloodthirsty dragon, smiling a bit evil and looking very strange. This video will end here.